Welcome to the Daily Coffee Pro, friends. Today we are going to be talking about part two, I should say, of punctuality. And so in yesterday's episode, we spoke about the things that cause punctuality to be a problem or a lack of punctuality. We defined it. And today I really want to address this issue or this question of how important really is it to be punctual. And as a business owner, as a past employee, I have a greater appreciation now as a business owner of why it's important to be punctual. And as a grown adult and someone who considers myself a professional, I see so much value in punctuality. Full disclosure, when I was younger and a little bit kind of like, why is it such a big deal? I used to think that people were uptight who thought punctuality was important. I hear a lot of people say these days that people who are millennials or fall into that bracket of millennials are lazy and they don't turn up to work on time and they don't have any respect for professionalism, and because of this they tend to be less punctual than the previous generations that came before them. I talk a lot about Angela Lee Duckworth's research because she's the world's leading expert on grit, and grit is something that is absolutely hindered by punctuality. And she did some further research into whether millennials are actually less punctual than other generations. And the research suggests that they are not. It is an age bracket thing rather than a generational thing. So it is more likely that people who are younger are going to be less punctual because they haven't learnt the value of being punctual. The reason I am having this conversation is because a number of people have spoken to me about their frustration with regards to punctuality of younger people in the workplace. And most people, it seems to be something that most people grow out of, but it's definitely something that has not got a lot of importance when it comes to, let's say, a large group of younger people. And I really sound old here, but I'm going to go with that. So, why is punctuality a problem? Okay. When you are not turning up to work on time, when you are not completing tasks with time efficiency, when you are not being respectful of the deadlines that have been set for you, it is a clear message that's being sent to your employer that you don't have any respect for them, for the work that they've asked you to complete, for your job, and for the way that you want to approach that job. It's sending a message to that person that says, I don't respect what you are asking me to do. I'm not taking it seriously. Now, I remember one of my employees who was chronically late, and it pissed me off beyond belief. He's a great guy. He was, he would get to work and he would be very interested in making sure that we got the job done properly. But this is one thing. He kept turning up to work late. And so I sat him down and I said to him, so listen, mate, we're just going to call him mate. I gotta ask, why do you keep coming to work late? You're such a good guy. I know you care about me and this business. I know that you want us to succeed, but you're sending a signal of disrespect to me when you don't turn up to work on time. And he was quite surprised because I knew he respected me, but his actions were signaling to me that he didn't appreciate having this job. He didn't appreciate the work that needed to be done. He wasn't respecting my time. And I got to tell you, this was all news to him. He hadn't realized that by turning up to work late, this was the non-verbal cue that he was giving me as his employer. We talked it out And this was something that was not only revolutionary to him, he had this conversation with his family. And because they were all people who were chronically late as well. And it really sparked a big discussion amongst them. And he came back later and thanked me for having that discussion with him, because they hadn't ever seen it that way. And it was something he had decided that he was going to now focus on getting better at. So we worked on some strategies together. He asked me, how can I get better at this? And what I said to him was, if you know you're going to be late somewhere, it's not good enough to text when you're supposed to arrive or 5 minutes before you're supposed to arrive. The time to text someone and tell them that you're going to be late is an hour before you're going to be late. Because if you know you're going to be late an hour before you're meant to arrive somewhere, it gives people some time to buffer for you not being there. And it suggests that that what actually is keeping you from being late is a legitimate reason. Not just that you woke up late, not just that you couldn't be fucked turning up and getting yourself there on time because you were too busy on social media. So that's an important one to think about. You turning up late places sends a signal of disrespect. And to the employers out there, I'd invite you to have this conversation with people who are chronically late. It's a really great way of finding out what's going on, especially if people are really good at their jobs and actually can be very effective in the workplace when they have arrived, but have a problem getting somewhere on time. So that's one reason why it's really important to be punctual, because it's sending a non-verbal signal to your employer that you are disrespecting them or don't respect the position that you hold. The other element of that is that you're letting your teammates down. You really, really are letting your teammates down. When your employer puts a team together, everyone has a role to play in the team. If you don't show up to work on time, everybody has to not only compensate for you, but they then have to figure out how they're going to make up for the time that they're going to lose because they weren't able to focus on their own jobs. And that's not fair. They're not getting paid any more and you're not getting paid any less because you're not turning up to work on time. So showing up to work on time and doing your part to get the jobs done in a timely fashion when you're at work makes the team feel more cohesive. It makes the team bond better together. And if you're the weak link, that is something that's going to make other people very frustrated at you. You're also letting your customers down. If your customers are feeling the pinch and are delayed in getting their beverages, or they're delayed in getting their coffee orders with regards to, if you're a roaster that turns up to work late, or you're a delivery driver for your company that turns up to work late, whoever you are, you're a customer-driven company. All businesses are. If you turn up to work late and that delays customers being serviced on time, you are letting them down. You are directly affecting the company's ability to earn, because the customer now views the business in a not so great light. And so you're letting your employer down, you're letting your teammates down, you're letting your customers down, and now to the most important one, you're letting yourself down. You're letting yourself down by not being professional. And it's important. It's important for you to understand that the person that's most affected by this is you, because the people around you, being your employer, your teammates, and your customers, particularly the first two, don't forget when someone constantly lets them down. They don't want to be around you. They don't want to hire you. They don't want to have you as a teammate. And this is an important thing to remember. It's important because as you move through your career, people talk to each other. Cafe owners talk to other cafe owners. If somebody knows that you used to work for one of their friends, they're going to go and say to them, hey, what was this person like when you worked for them? They're going to say, well, he was pretty good at making coffee, or she was a really great roaster, or, they they were really great with customers, but you know what? I don't know what it was. I could never get them to turn up to work on time, or I could never get them to finish all the work that they were supposed to finish before the end of the day. They were too busy talking. They were too busy being distracted. Okay, so remember from our conversation yesterday, all of that goes back to an issue with people trying to multitask. The way that you're going to fix this, the way that you show up for you, is by being focused on your professionalism. This is the difference, one of the core differences that separates out professionals from non-professionals. Can you deliver on the things that are expected of you? If you can, you will be seen as a professional. People will want to keep you around. If you can't, people won't want to have you around. And because of that, you won't do as well as you should be doing in your career. Don't be disrespectful. Be respectful of yourself and be respectful of others by making punctuality something that you start working on if it's something that you struggle with. And if you need to understand why you're struggling with it, listen to yesterday's episode of the podcast. On that note, peace, love, and peanut butter, friends.